Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. I'm your girl Tari, and this is my channel, The Authenticity of Me, a mom and everything between. So here, today is story time. Story time. So we're going to talk about my breastfeeding journey. Are you struggling trying to find out more information about breastfeeding? In this video, we're going to talk about my breastfeeding journey to encourage you to do your breastfeeding journey. All right, let's get started. When I started, I had my first two kids. One, I was 21, and then my second child, I was about 23, getting ready to turn 24. And during that time frame, there wasn't really much that they didn't talk about, but I didn't also feel like I was prepared enough like I am or was to have my third baby. So when I had my first baby, I was in the hospital in Biloxi, Mississippi. I was having her on a military installation. And when we discussed breastfeeding, the answer was, yes, I'm going to do it because, of course, you know, my mom did it. And so I was excited about having a breastfeeding journey with my first baby. And when I had her, I did what I was supposed to do. I nursed her for the first 2 weeks. And then what happened? The military happened. And we had to move from Biloxi, Mississippi. I had to go to South Carolina. So when I went to South Carolina, my husband went on to Maryland. And so what wound up happening is, on the way there, we were first in the military, didn't really have a lot. And I wasn't really educated on breastfeeding and what I needed to continue to produce milk for my baby. So what winds up happening was I wasn't eating and I wasn't drinking enough water. And then we were traveling, and she was about 2 weeks old when we left to go on to Maryland and South Carolina. And when in that time frame, it was just like I wasn't producing enough milk. So I got to South Carolina and I was very upset with that situation. So I wound up asking my mom to help me, and she wound up giving me the doctor. She was just like, girl, you got that Blue Johnson milk. That Blue John milk ain't nothing there, girl. So, you know, forced to kind of go into feeding her formula. And so that's how that story ended. And I was like, man, you know, so with my second baby, my son Justice, I was like, man, I'm determined. I'm going to breastfeed. I'm going to do this. And I got a little bit more educated, got some more information on latching and things like that. But I still didn't feel as if I was ready for it the way that I have been in this pregnancy and baby that I just recently had. And so I was like, okay, you know, I had my son, he was born in January. I did a lot of the breastfeeding classes as well. And, you know, the military makes sure that they inform you on those things. But even, I mean, you say 12, 13 years ago, there wasn't as much information out there as it is now. And so I was excited, but I still didn't feel prepared. And so with my son, I wound up nursing him, and he wound up getting a double ear infection. And when that happened, instead of the doctor telling me to continue to breastfeeding while he was sick and while he was going through those things and the type of things that breastfeeding is used. And by the way, if you want to know more information about what type of things you can use your breast milk for and different types of things, just put that in the comments below. You know, like this video if you getting value out of it, and subscribe to my channel. So back to the story. So after I had him, he had his double ear infection. I winded up really being discouraged. And after that, when he was about 3 years old, we moved to Germany. And that's where I met my friend. I call her the nipple whisperer. Her name is Joni. Love her. And when I first met her, she was breastfeeding her second daughter. And I just thought it was amazing. I thought she was beautiful. I thought, like, man, she's really got this thing down. And so I said then, if I ever had another baby, that I would breastfeed my child no matter what. And that's what I decided to do. So 12 years later, I had my third baby, which, that's a whole nother topic. Amen. Praise God. So I wound up having this conversation. They always were there for me and talked to me about nursing and those kind of things. So when I had this baby, I really wanted my family to be able to help, my older kids to be able to feed her if I needed to take a shower, for my husband to be able to feed her. So in the beginning, I decided I was going to actually nurse her, but I was going to exclusively pump most of my milk. So I was just like, no, I'm not going to do it, because fear kind of crept in when I got ready to have her. And it was like I was determined to nurse, but then as I got closer to the end, I was very discouraged and fear tried to creep in and get me. So I winded up going back on what I felt God really put in my heart to do for this baby. And so I was really discouraged. And so I had the baby. We got in the hospital. I had a C-section, so I wound up being very sick from the C-section and different kind of things like that. So I didn't get an opportunity to do skin to skin once I had her. And so I decided that once I got better and I was feeling a little better, I was able to feed her when I got there. She latched perfectly. That wasn't my concern. I actually had a really good time in the hospital, but as soon as I was in the hospital, like as soon as I get home, I'm about to pump this milk so everyone else can feel a part of this pregnancy and me having this baby and doing these things. And next thing I know, I just remember sitting in my room, and it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and my husband was laying next to me, and I just remember screaming to the top of my lungs, and nobody moved but me. Like, I was screaming, and I was just like, this is crazy, because the pumping and the feeding her and doing all that stuff, it got overwhelming. And so the next day, my husband was taking a real estate class, and I was having to do the pumping and feed her and do all those things because my older kids had gone back to school. So I was like, man, this is crazy. I don't think that I really want to. So that Friday, I will never forget, my husband was at class and I was getting ready to pump. I had put her to sleep. She had been asleep for like 2 hours, but it was coming up on her feeding time. And I was just like, the moment I pulled the pump out, it was like radar. She just popped up, and I was like, I don't get it. And I just remember sitting there like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to pump the milk that I produce just to be able to feed her. And so that was when I had my aha moment, and I was just like, I have to be able to feed my baby. I have to do what's easiest for me. So I called my friend Joni, because she was living in Texas where I'm at now, and I was excited, and I was just like, Joni, I need your help. I really need your help right now. And she was like, hey, my dad's in town, but I'll help you. And I was like, I will come to you. I don't care. I just need your help. And I was excited, but I also was kind of scared. And I just remember going over there. I didn't have the pump. I never really learned how to manually express. Still don't know how to do it. Really don't care, because it's not that important at this point in time. But I was like, man, I really need to get some help. I went over there and she helped me. But at the same time, my baby had been nursing or getting her feeding from a bottle. So she had nipple confusion. And that was so hard to deal with. But of course, the doctors and the nurses, they tell you that in the hospital, but no one really explains it to you to the point where this is going to cause you some kind of problem at some time. And so I was like, okay, well, she, she helped me. She latched on. She was really fussy, but because she was so hungry from not being able to eat. And I was just like, man, I just can't do this. And my friend Joni, the next day, she came to my house, her and my friend Teresa, and they were just like, oh my goodness, like, I don't understand. And I was just like, they helped me. They brought me a nipple shield. They did all of that stuff. And of course, the nipple shields, they hurt worse than, the baby latching on the incorrect way or whatnot. So I went through that and I had to really work through it. And by the third day, I was just like, look, I am not about to wear this nipple shield. We're going to have to suck it up and we're going to do it. And so I went all in, and I had to give that decision to make it and say, this is what I'm going to do. And this is what my body was created to do. I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And my friend Joni said, whatever you do, find a lactation consultant. And I remembered, like, I had an aha moment again, like, oh yeah, I signed up for the San Antonio birth doulas, and the birth doulas here in San Antonio, they are amazing. They help you when you're going through labor. But because I had a pre-planned, pre-scheduled C-section, I didn't need that. Okay, but they used to come by the house and help me and make sure that I was okay after I had the baby. So I was just kind of like, okay, but I had to tap into what tools and what resources that I was given. And I was excited. And I remember going into her office and I sat down and she was like, so what's the problem? And the baby was nursing and she was like, Mama, you don't have a problem. There's nothing wrong with you. And I was just like, yeah, but I don't know what to do and I just can't get it and I think that it's wrong. And she was like, let's weigh your baby. And she weighed her before and she weighed her after I nursed her, and she gained almost a couple of ounces to a pound just from feeding off of my breast milk. And so I was excited, but at the same time I was still scared. And she was about 6 weeks when this happened, and she's 17 months now. She's still nursing. I set goals for myself, and I said when I make my goal, I would set another goal. And I did that as far as my first 3 months. And I was like, if I could just get to 3 months, 60 days, any day that you give your baby breast milk is better for them than anything else. And I was just like, okay, let me take this a little bit further. And then I hit 3 months, and then I hit 6 months, and I was like, okay, we at that halfway mark. Then I was like, let's go to 9 months. And then it was 12 months. And then it was, hey, if I can go 15 months, then now it's 17 months. And my goal now is just to get to 2. And if I can get to 2, then, it'll be the self-weaning on that part, but she's healthy, she's growing, she's actually very smart. And it's a learning curve, but it's a learning journey between you and your baby. And I can say that no matter what, my baby loves me. I know that she's getting the best things from me, and it's building her antibodies up. It's helping her continue to stay healthy. She's 17 months, so she's never been sick as far as like a cold or something like this. So I would encourage you, if you know that that's what you want to do, make a decision in your mind, continue to press forward. It will get hard, but it gets easier. Every day it gets easier because they learn how to do it. The first 6 weeks are the hardest. It's the sleepless nights. It's the different situations that you work through, and when you work through them, they're gonna help you. They're gonna make it easier, and the baby learns what they're supposed to do, and they're being taught how to eat, how to nurse, and then you start to learn your baby. So it's so many things. And if you want to learn more about that, just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like this video, and just write down in the comments, question of the day: what are your fears for breastfeeding, and how can I help you get over that fear? If you like this channel, subscribe, like this video, and share it with somebody that you know. Be you, be true. See you next time.